How you doing? What's up, people? So this is the Northentic Elements show podcast for you to all check out. The concept of the show is that it's interviews from all elements of hip hop. We're going to interview people individually, and then after we've done that, what's going to happen is we're going to combine all the interviews, get people talking, get some good convo going, some stories, have a bit of banter, have some games and all that. So first of all, I'd like to introduce my man, Ken Masters. This is a Newcastle legend, absolutely fucking killer MC, battle legend, deep lyrics legend, b-boy, host, all-round entertainer. What's up, Ken?
All right, how are we doing? Yeah, good. I'm happy to be here on Northentic Elements. Next up, I'm going to introduce to you one of the sickest lyricists to come out of the northwest of England, the one and only Karlow. What's up, Karlow?
Yes, mate. How we doing, everyone? How we doing,
Good.
boys? Yeah, man. Excited, innit?
Yeah.
So, next up, the Northentic Records CEO, the man, the myth, the legend that is Mr. Seek the Northerner. And, you know, all-round talented dude, fucking producer, rapper, breaker, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely. Don't forget Par Muncher, sponsored by Afners.
So once again, people, the concept of the show is we're just mixing all the hip hop elements up. We're going to have guests from right across the field. So let's get this started, people. How's about rolling them credits, Ken? Northentic Records presents Elements Podcast, representing the worldwide hip hop scene. You know how we do.
So I'm going to, maybe what we should do is just invite the first guest in and kick things off. So he really needs no introduction to me. I've known this guy since he was knee-high to a grasshopper, and he's always had potential, but he's outgrown that shell of potential now into becoming like one of the most fierce b-boys on the planet. You can tell he's hungry when he's on the floor, and he's got a real solid mindset as well. Like so, I'm gonna bring b-boy Jackson into the room.
How we doing, bro?
How's it going? You all right?
I'm good.
What was the point when you had a realization of what hip hop culture was, and like how did that make you feel?
I think it probably took like a few years into my breaking, like maybe it's like 2 or 3 years into my breaking to realize what like hip hop culture like actually was, because I only knew hip hop as like the music side of it for like years until I started breaking. So
I think that's partly the reason why we want to include all elements in these podcasts, because that's what me and Ken were discussing the other day about. You know, like a lot of people see, they think hip hop's just rap music.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's, it's a good thing that you brought that up. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it's good. It's definitely like the music is for a lot of people is the like introduction to hip hop for them. So I think like, to be fair, music is probably like, in my opinion, the most important part of hip hop.
The DJ is the fulcrum, and he's the epicenter of it all. We've got a dope DJ going on, DJ Rasp as well. Like so,
man.
You know that's it's a really important part of the culture, absolutely. So you most people's first kind of experience is gonna be music, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, man. Because I think without music, then you probably wouldn't have like breaking. Obviously, you know what I mean, because that's where breaking came from. Not necessarily hip hop music, but like the way breaking's developed. It's become very hip hop based rather than like obviously dancing to like funk and like soul music back in the day. It's now like hip hop music, boom bap, all that stuff, you know. So yeah, man.
So can you tell us about like your relationship with P? Because I know he's like a mentor and stuff to you, and he's probably the guy that's taught you the most. And tell us about P and Bad Taste Crew.
Bad Taste Crew. Shout outs to Bad Taste Crew.
Shout out Bad Taste.
My crew.
So I first met Pete in, I think, 2008. Yeah, would have been like 2008. And I was basically taking classes with Lee from Newcastle City crew. Shout out them guys as well.
Shout out NCK.
Yeah, NCK legends.
OGs. And I just finished one of my classes one day, and I think Bad Taste were in the lab making Soul to Soul, which was like a theatre show. And we went downstairs and we done like a little cypher in front of them, and then they done a little show, and I was like, damn, because I hadn't seen breaking in person yet, like of that stature anyways. So like my mom and dad was there, and P was the first one out of all of them to kind of like talk to us, and like it was just like an instant connection there kind of thing. And he got on well with my parents and started chatting to them about it and stuff. And then about like 2-3 months later, I ended up starting custom brakes, which was the classes P put on. So it was P and DW, who was like a former member of Bad Taste crew.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just kind of like with P, it was, I don't know, I just kind of related to him like straight off the back of things.
He's got a real solid personality that kind of like, you know, that's really good at nurturing people who show an interest. And not giving any kind of, he doesn't give like easy rides, you know what I mean? It's like he knows how to kind of push people, but like with the arm around the shoulder, and just kind of really it's like the amount of people that he has nurtured in the scene and kind of given advice to and stuff. And as a friend of mine, he's a really solid human being. So shout outs to P, who was actually we're going to get P on the show this evening, but he's got a brand new bit, well not brand new now, but a new baby. Shout outs to Aiden as well.
Yeah, man.
So he's locked in that life at the minute, and just the timings didn't work out for him. But yeah, shout outs to P. Can you remember your first like significant battle to you? A battle that was really significant to you that really kind of turned you onto it?
I mean, I can remember the earliest battle I can remember is at Freshers Bairns, and I think it was a 2-on-2 when you used to do like the older guys would team up with the younger guys. So I can remember doing a 2-on-2 with like Daichi, who's part of Bad Taste crew. And I remember that being like,
shout out to Daichi.
Shout out to Daichi. I remember that being quite like that stands out in my head. And then like the first battle where I was kind of like shit, I'm gonna like do this for a long time now, you know what I mean, was like Just Jam in Stockton, and it was like an under 18s battle, and it was basically just like they had an under 18s battle, and then there was like the big Just Jam as well. It was in the summer and it was outside on a stage, and I remember going up against like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 like pretty good b-boys, and this was the first.
Rock's Right was over.
Yeah, Rock's Right and Dizzy.
That's right.
Yeah. And I remember going up against like 2 or 3 b-boys that I was like, damn, I don't think I'm gonna beat these guys, but I'll just give it my best shot, and like ended up getting like all the way to the finals, and I was just like, damn, it was like, because it was unexpected. It was like I knew the guys that I was battling, they'd battled, like I knew of them on the scene, and it was kind of like these kids who you were kind of like, damn, they're here, gonna have a chance to battle them, and then you're kind of like, oh shit, like I'm beating them now. So that was the one that stood out in my mind.
That scene in Fleet Street where they go, Rocks Rockers.
It's the Bronx Rockers, yeah. So what about like how so you've been through all these, obviously you started off in them early days and you've come through the ranks kind of thing, and now you've got up to the point where you've won the UK Cypher, part of the Red Bull BC1, and then you've gone over to like Mumbai and stuff. So tell us about that journey.
That was like the craziest thing, to be fair, man. Like I remember when I got the invite, because obviously I think the UK Cypher it started like 2015 or something like that, 2014. And I was like, obviously back then, I didn't really feel ready to do that type of stuff because I was decent, but I wasn't at that level. Mm-hmm. And then obviously it stopped for like a good few years. So I think when I got the invite for that, I was kind of like, damn, like stuff's starting to pick up. And because I didn't really get like a lot of attention within the scene or whatever, or to get invites to battles, anything like that. And then once I got the invite for that, I was kind of like, something's going well now, you know, because I'm like training every day and I'm putting in work, and it's kind of like, you just got to keep reminding yourself that like, if you just keep like grinding and keep training, something's eventually going to happen. But sometimes
hard work paying off.
Putting the hard work in, it's going to pay off eventually. But sometimes when it takes a long time to pay off, you're sitting back thinking like, oh man, like, why is nothing going on? Why is nothing happening? And you just need to keep yourself in check. So when that happened, it was kind of like just a bit of a relief, just to get the invite. Never mind like going in, like winning it. It was just like, just to get a bit of recognition for the work. You know what I mean?
I can remember like speaking to P about it, and just the pride that he showed when you got to that level, you know. And he called me up and he was so excited. He's like, "Oh man, have you checked Jackson out and what he's doing? And he's got this far, and he's got this invite, and he's going to kill it." And then it's like, right, now he's gone through to Mumbai, and I'm like, what are you doing today out next call? It's like, oh, I'm going down, I'm preparing him for war.
Well, no, to be fair, it was like the main reason that I won the UK one was I spent like, I think like 6 to 8 weeks or something like that, meeting up with P, like once or twice a week. And we were just running through things, and he was like, I'd say like at least 75% of the reason I was like prepared for the Red Bull, the UK one anyways, you know what I mean?
He's got a lot of experience, man, for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely put him like at the top of the list of why I got to where I was type thing, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is with P, he's got like natural leadership qualities, man. You know what I mean? It is, and it's not just to do with his physical stature, because he's a big imposing lad, but he's just got that thing about him where he's good at leading and.
Yeah, man. The thing I like about P the most is like, I think within the hip hop scene, there's a lot of like people can be quite soft on you, you know, like people, if you do something, it can be like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, but actually it was like quite shit. Whereas P's the one, P'll just be straight and just be like, nah man, it's shit, like you need to change it.
Yeah,
and
straight talker.
That's what you need. Like, that's why I like being around P, because he just keeps it like as real as possible. And it's like, you need someone there to be like, nah, that doesn't work, or don't do that, it's corny, don't do that, it's this or that. Like, just change it up, like, you know, so.
Yeah, man. That's a good thing. I've always had Lee for that, Seek. He's always done the same with me. We do it with each other these days. We'll tell each other. But he's like apprenticed, you know, like growing up and that. I was a B-boy first, and he was like always telling me, no, that rhyme shit, don't do it. Still does it.
Yeah, it works both ways these days, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I come to you for advice lyrically now. That role's changed.
That's the important thing, man. You know, it's like the influence being a true two-way street, innit?
Yeah, definitely,
like,
man.
You know, like you get a lot of you get a lot out of like, I'm sure P learned a lot out of his journey with you, from you, you know, Jackson. So,
yeah, man.
Like, it definitely goes both ways.
For sure, man. Definitely.
All right, I think we'll knock your interview on the head there for just now, and then because we already want to show a clip of you doing your thing.
Once upon a time, around 99, I took a chick to the prom with a big behind. She had a cute face, a thin waist, a bright smile. Titties mediocre, but ass was like blow. Might have been too down when I met that hoe. But on the low, I used to sweat that hoe. I had to let that go, cause baby had me with a hell of a crush. Love letters on the locker, I ain't getting no fuck what other niggas thought about me. Cause I was all about weed, me and her till I D.I.E. Made me wanna do some shit like carve a name in a tree, like we was K-I-S-S-I-N-G. But little did I know she had a dude with hella money, hella jewels. I was just another nigga at school, a straight fool for thinking I was special or different. Lost my respect for the rest of the bitches. I played hoes and shake hoes for bankrolls. Never thought they filled my heart with pain, though. I would laugh when a bra made my niggas feel blue. But the jokes ain't funny when the joke's on you. Let me stroke some boo, let me get that pearl. Touch your softest spot, let me in your world. You can be his girl, and that nigga can remain your man. Freddie G will be your backup plan, it's how we do. Cause why have one when a nigga can have two? 3 or 4 hoes, I like the ass brand new. Just fuck with me and I'll stay true. Yeah, I love you too, this how we do. Cause why have one when a nigga can have 2? 3 or 4 hoes, I like the ass brand new. Just fuck with me and I'll stay true. Yeah, I love you too, this how we do. This how we do. This how we do. This how we do.
Wow, some stylish shit there, brother. Big
Cool
up for that, man.
Cool motherfucker.
Hey, boys, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to go and see if I can still windmill. Probably won't be back if I go and try.
I can barely walk these days. I'll be fucked getting off this settee later, I'm telling you. Yeah,
I'm just saying the comments now. Like we've got a Reckon One online. What's up, Reckon? And also young Jake the Break online.
Yes,
Jake.
Representative.
Go on.
It's probably worth saying that both Jackson and Jake are pretty dope on the microphone as well. Like,
for sure.
Yeah,
So before you go to the next guest, Ken, I thought it might be good to just like ask each guest, like so you know, now we're moving on to the next person. Jackson, have you got anything you want to plug or anyone you want to shout out, brother?
I want to shout out my dog Tito.
Just shout out to Italian's crew.
Yes.
My crew. Shout out to Bad Taste crew.
Yep.
Shout out to Newcastle.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to myself. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for having us on the podcast as well for the first edition,
brother.
Stick around, man.
Yes,
well,
man.
Stick around, yeah, and join in the conversation, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
all right, we're going to bring our next guest on.
Yes. DJ Rasp.
DJ Rasp. So here he comes. You ready? Thanks for coming in to the show. Coming down. I don't know. Like, I mean, you haven't left your house ready to get here. It's quite convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for flying in, bro.
Yeah, it's like the hip hop version of Morrison's Click and Collect, isn't it? Or what's the delivery service? All right, let's kick the questions off. So, what was your first encounter with hip hop then, Ras?
Okay, some of my earliest memories of hip hop is like, you know, older kids breakdancing on the streets, and you know, around the town I'm from. I'm from a place called St. Helens. I used to see all the, you know, the older guys breakdancing on Lino and that kind of thing. You know, also, you know, remembering like the advert, the Green Cross Coat Man. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure.
Probably the first rap song I ever heard, you know.
I don't think Jackson will remember it, like, but
Wicked.
Yeah, and then, you know, a little bit later, I remember some lad come to my school. He was from London. He moved from London up to St. Helens, and he had like lots of rap cassettes, you know, like BDP and Public Enemy, NWA and Hijack and all that kind of thing. And he used to borrow me these cassettes, and I used to listen to them on my Walkman. So I'd say that's when I first started getting into it, you know, into hip hop and really feeling the beats and the music and stuff.
Rasp, were you going like, because you're from Liverpool?
It's not Liverpool where I'm from. I'm from a place called St Helens.
Yeah, I know St Helens, mate.
Which is like, it's part of Merseyside, but it's not really Liverpool.
Right.
It's its own town. It's like a mining town. And, you know, Liverpool, it's like in between Liverpool and Manchester.
So were those two cities, were you frequenting both of those two cities and those two scenes at that time then, or?
No. It was only later when I started going to the cities.
Yeah.
In my town, you know, not many people was into hip hop. You know, other than like the early days when breakdancing was like a thing, you know, in the early 80s. But I was only like a young boy then, you know. When I first started listening to hip hop and, you know, getting into it, into the music and stuff, that was like the late 80s, early 90s. And not many people from my area was into hip hop other than me and a handful of friends, you know. And, you know, we'd do a little bit of tagging and that kind of thing. But, you know, I didn't get involved in hip hop until later on in my late teens, you know, when I started like buying records and you know, getting turntables and that kind of thing.
Can you remember your first record?
Oh wow! Probably, I don't know, probably a Star Wars record or something like that. You know, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I still got it either. I remember like the first record I went out and bought as a teenager. You know, I went out and bought with my own money. That was
Tapow.
No,
I was just a random.
It was a 7-inch record. It was a 7-inch record, and it was Bob Marley, Iron Line Zion.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Kudos.
Yeah?
That's a good record, man.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool first record.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, like I used to buy cassettes. You know, I used to buy cassettes a lot more. And, you know, like I said, my friend come from London and he had all this, you know, he was into hip hop before I was into it. And he used to dub me cassettes, you know, of like hip hop beats and, you know, different albums. So I was just listening to like, you know, cassettes like that. And then, you know, he'd tell me about like different radio shows. And, you know, I'd just start discovering things for myself and then going to record shops and Our Price Records, Virgin Records, HMV, all that kind of all them kind of places, you know, and you know, some like places on the market where I'm from, they saw like rock and rap stuff, because I was into rock as well, you know what I mean? I was into all kinds of music, but hip hop really spoke to me. I really liked the beats, and yeah, I just fell in love with it, kind of thing, you know.
What made you gravitate towards the turntables as like your art form then?
Well, I used to collect records. So I used to collect tapes and records. And my auntie had an old hi-fi system. And she'd give it to me, you know, when I was young. And it wasn't like a set of decks. It was just like a decent hi-fi with a turntable on it. And I used to play my records on that. And what I used to do, I used to make like little paused mixtapes on cassettes, from my records. Yeah, and I just used to like, you know, experiment, messing about with the record, like moving it back and forth and, you know, creating different sounds. Scratching. Yeah, scratching, you know. But I didn't know what I was doing then. I was just, this is fun. You know what I mean? Just, yeah, I've probably wrecked a load of records from doing that, you know. And then, you know, I used to make these cassettes and I used to listen to them on my Walkman, you know, when I'm on my BMX or walking around the place. And I thought to myself, you know, it would be good if I got myself a set of turntables. You know, if I got 2 decks and a mixer, then it would give me something to do, for one. It'd keep me out of trouble and all that. And it would also, you know, it would be a fun thing to do, to create these mixes rather than pausing the tape and then letting the record play and all that, because it was fun, but it was a little bit of a faff, you know what I mean? I thought it'd be better if I had 2 turntables and a mixer, and you know, I could mess about and I could make the sounds what, like, you know, DJ Supreme and DJ Premier makes and Pete Rock makes and all that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, legends.
yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah.
So for anyone viewing this, if you don't know, DJ Rasp, you know, has been in quite a few battles and won quite a few titles.
IDA titles, UK DMC.
Yeah, man.
Done a
So
lot, man.
if you look back now, Rasp, what were the competition you enjoyed being part of most?
Oh wow. They all have the good points, you know, and you know, all the competitions have different elements to them. The DMC is like, you know, for hip hop and turntablism, that's like, you know, the best one to win or the best one to be in. But I enjoyed them all, you know, for lots of different reasons. I like the ITF when that was about, that's International Turntablist Federation. I was very lucky to take part in that. I took part in the last one. I got in the UK finals, and that was the first time I entered the ITF and got to a national UK final. So I've got good memories of that. You know, IDA, which is International DJ Association, which basically was the ITF. It merged into the IDA. I've got good memories going out to Poland and competing in the world finals. And it's kind of like a family thing, you know. You know, I've even done Red Bull Freestyle. I've done that twice. I got in the UK final. And yeah, that's fun. But it's a totally different type of competition. It's more like a party rocking, you know, like a club set rather than hardcore scratching turntablist, you know, hip hop style competition. But you know, I like them all for different reasons. You know, DMC has been fun. There's been a lot of ups and downs with it, though. You know, it's a tough competition, and I was really, you know, happy to, you know, persevere with it and, you know, win the UK title. And I did it a few times. I managed to do it a few times. I had to prove myself. It took me a long time to prove myself in that competition, you know. Yeah. And I started, like, you know, not just winning regionals, but then, you know, getting placed in the UK final, and then eventually winning the UK final, which was good. But it took a lot of hard work and sacrifice and dedication to do this, you know.
Of course, man. Of course.
And that time when you were grafting as well, I think, like, would you say there was more DJs like entering those type of competitions then? Yeah,
definitely. When I first started battling, it was 1998, and that was the year when all the scratch perverts entered. You know, we have people like Peter Parker, Excel, DJ Woody, you know, all these guys, Richie Ruffton. These are just guys from the UK, you know what I mean? And these are like legends. And
shout out to all those guys.
Yeah, big up to all them dudes, you know, are the major, you know, inspirations. And you know, I've got to meet a lot of them, and they're cool people as well. And so, you know, the competition was hardcore, and I persevered with it. And it was hardcore for a good couple of years. And when I won the battle for UK supremacy, which was in 2009, when I become the UK champion, that had some tough competition. We had like Asian Hawk and X-Rated and Jepper, Psycho Mantis. Yeah, good quality DJs, and it was busy. This is when, you know, it was all still on vinyl, and it was vinyl only competition. And you had a lot of people entering heats and stuff like that. But, you know, I continued battling for many years after that, and I slowly saw it, dwindle. The numbers dwindle and not as much interest, especially in the UK. In other countries it's different, but in the UK it started to dwindle. Now I don't battle anymore. I've stopped doing it now, but I have fun doing it, and But
Was
now I was lucky enough to like judge competitions, world finals and US finals and stuff, and do showcases.
Oh, who's this?
Who's this guy?
Jesus.
Who's
It's the
that?
Northentic lot, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Who's this guy? Does anyone know him?
It's Alistair. I'm Amos's PA.
Oh,
All right.
Oh, Amos. Oh, I know
We're just
Amos.
doing an interview at a minute, mate.
Where's my Spanish class?
we're in the middle of a show, man.
I think you're at wrong.
Oh, for
You're at wrong
fuck's
Zoom.
sake. Sorry, lads. All right, speak. Hi,
Hello,
mate.
hello, Alistair.
Oh,
Hello.
listen. Amos has just come back. He's the right slave driver,
Is there?
Yeah.
All right.
I can't fucking stand him. I can't stand him. How's this?
Amos,
Any of you lot know Spanish anyway?
yeah.
Cinquecento.
Au revoir.
Hola, senor. Anyway, listen, I need to find my Spanish class.
All right, mate. Nice
All
one.
right, bud.
See you then.
Hola.
See you later.
Adios. Adios.
Bye.
See you later, Alistair.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Legend.
Wow.
These security breaches in Zoom have been well talked about, like over the past few weeks. Like, you never know what's going to happen, but
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
could have been worse.
Hey, so Rasp. Yeah. Wow, just compose myself. I was just going to ask you, bro. So anyone who's battled like in any of the elements will know that sometimes you just have that feeling and you just kind of know you fucking on your shit with it. Can you think of any examples where you just had that routine and any of the battles you won where you had that routine and even before you went in, you just knew you were going to fucking smoke people and you were really, you felt invincible kind of thing?
You'd never take anything for granted, and you never get complacent with it because you never know who's going to turn up on the day.
Okay.
The only thing I can say for me personally, is know your stuff inside out and be confident about performing it, and try not focus on what other people are doing. You know what I mean? And
brilliant advice, man.
Just
brilliant.
You know what I mean? Just like focus on what you do, and do it tight, and just go with the flow of the day of the competition, because with DJing competitions, there's a lot of technical things that can happen and technical difficulties that can happen, like needle skipping, especially back in the vinyl days. So you could feel invincible. You get on the turntables and one of the tone arms might be damaged, and it might make the needle skip out the groove, and it could mess up your whole routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just got to be confident and be able to recover from mistakes and stuff like that. You know,
can I ask you about like routines wise? Is it like any particular battle routine that you've seen across competitions that's really like influenced you? I know for Woody was really influenced by DJ Noise at DMC's 96 in Worlds, and
Noise is brilliant. Yeah, man.
That routine really inspired him. What's your inspiration routine?
Oh well, there's so many. Like from the early days when I first started watching, like DJ Cash Money.
Yeah, of course.
Seeing him like kill it.
Yeah.
Some stuff like Master Swift was doing back in the early days. He was doing some cool stuff.
That needle drop stuff he was doing, like when he takes the needle and puts it on the spot and that.
Oh man, that was dope. That was ahead of its time back in the day. Like and like modern DJs, or like the golden era, like Craze and all the allies, the Scratch Perverts. Woody, he's done some cool stuff. You know, all the Pickles and Beat Junkies, X-Men, you know, all these guys. Oh, there's so many to name, you know what I mean? I couldn't put it down to like one routine that I saw or one particular DJ, because I was really inspired by a lot of them, you know.
One of my first DJ routines, like a you know, a team effort that I ever saw. Check this out for a first exposure to a team, was at Fresh 97, Invisible Scratch Pickles, full lineup in Forks, and I was just like, the fuck have I just
next level?
Wow,
just amazing. That was my first exposure to teams.
Wow.
DJing.
That's a good first time.
Yeah, but I started at the top and then no, I'm joking.
Mine was Smashy and Nicey.
Oh, that was 74, that. 74, yeah, just after Jimmy Savile had quit.
Yeah. Rasp, we want to ask you about the kind of technological advances and the pros and cons, but like we're trying to push the interview along a little bit, like just because we've got Blade waiting in the waiting room, and he's actually renovating in a minute. We don't want to be too high off paint fumes when he comes in. So we'll just, if you can just briefly surmise, like maybe like in it, like, you know, just what because I know that I've seen you perform a load of times, and I've watched the stuff online and that, and you kind of you've got a thing that you're right. You've definitely embraced the new technology and used it to its fullest, but you still keep a foot in that kind of traditional old style as well. So what's your take on it, basically?
I like the best of both worlds. I like the traditional vinyl stuff, you know, the old way of DJing, and I like the new technology. You know, I've embraced Serato, I embrace CDJs, I embrace, you know, controllers. My preference, though, what I do like to use is, like, you know, a Serato setup with like either turntables or the Rain 12 controllers. I like to use them. But, you know, I can rock a little controller, a little Pioneer controller or something, you know. I think there's pros and cons with it. You know, with the controllers, it's very portable. You know what I mean? It's great for that. It's great for portability. And, you know, with Serato and DVS, that makes DJing very portable and very accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
But the cons is maybe it's a little bit too accessible for everyone now. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's flooded, it's saturated the DJ world where like anyone could just do it. And I've got nothing against that, but you get people that don't really study the craft of it. And, you know,
got to learn the foundation first, innit?
Yeah, you got to learn the foundations. But, you know, I understand for like kids that are growing up now, they don't have records, they don't have vinyl, or they've not grown up with vinyl. You know what I mean? Like kids born in year 2000, 2001, they're not going to have a turntable in their house. They've not grew up with that. So it's cool for that. But I think what DJs should do is maybe respect the artists that have come before them and just try and like learn stuff. Even if you don't want to do the scratching or whatever, just like learn it and you know, learn the old ways of DJing and watch like the old pioneers and you know, try and use your ears rather than looking at a screen to DJ with. Do you get what I mean? Some people are too reliant on the technology, which takes away the
original skill, isn't it?
Yeah, the original skill and that, man. You know what I mean? So the new technology is great. I love it, and I'll always progress with it because, you know, you've got to progress in this art form. But
of course you have, yeah.
You know, I think for the younger generation, you know, and some of them do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being, old and saying, oh, the young ones don't do the research or whatever, because some of them do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it should be encouraged more. For DJs to like use the ears more rather than just rely on waveforms and screens and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ever evolving, and it's evolving into something else right now, because what's going to start happening very soon is DJs are not only going to be downloading stuff, everything's going to be streamed soon. You know what I mean? So, that's going to change the game again. It's in its infancy right now, but in years to come, that's going to change it up again, man. You know what I mean? So, well, who knows? I'm excited for it, but I'll always keep my hands in the traditions, the old vinyl and, downloading tunes.
It's interesting that that vinyl is always stuck around, knowing that, people call it a resurgence, but actually there's always a steady supply of people who are buying vinyl and stuff. So
True.
it's got real staying power. I think that so with the advancement of technology and things going the way of streaming, it's really interesting that the thing that has stuck around is that old reliable 12-inch piece of polyvinyl chloride that you can always go back to. You know what I mean?
I think that's partly because of the sound, though.
Yeah.
It's got its own unique sound, vinyl, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's physical as well.
Yeah, it's physical and it's collectible. You know what I mean? It's tangible.
Yeah.
People like that. You know what I mean? So it's good. And don't get me wrong. There is younger generation that are into vinyl. I've DJed with kids. At a young generation, I've taught younger kids, and they gravitate towards the vinyl. You know what I mean? So, but the majority of new DJs now will just get a controller, or they'll just download record box and have all the music on a USB stick, which is great. You know what I mean? It's a great thing, but I think they miss out on the digging elements and the risk element of using vinyl, and the needle skipping and all that kind of thing. It makes it a bit more fun for me anyway.
So we've just had a DJ music hall on, and he was just saying how do you see the future of turntablism? And I guess you're kind of covering that. We're saying streaming's going to be a big part of it. So maybe what about the visual stuff, like what Woody does and people like that? Could you see that coming into the streaming side of things?
I could. I've seen DJ Yoda do a couple of streaming sets on Facebook Live and stuff, and he's incorporating his AV
his audio visual
styles. So it would be good because there's not that many DJs that do it. I had a dabble last year for the first time. I was booked by a venue to do a show, an A/B show, and it was fun. It's a lot of graft though. I remember having a conversation with Woody, and he's telling me, you got to edit stuff and layer stuff. And I've seen some of Woody's shows, and also the guy from Holland, Irie, seen some of his shows too. And there's a lot to it, man. And I've studied what them guys are doing, and having a go of it myself. I just dip my toes into it a little bit. It's a lot different from just regular DJing. You know what I mean? You got to know video editing and how to produce not only sounds but visuals too. You know what I mean? So, but it would be nice to see. You know what I mean? We got the technology to do this, so it'd be great to see more DJs doing it. But as the future of turntablism, it's ever evolving. The art of scratching and manipulating sounds on records or controllers or whatever format you want to use, it's always going to evolve. You see the scratching back in 89 compared to now. The techniques and the standard and everything. It's just evolved, you know what I mean? Also, the equipment helps it evolve. You know, like the crossfaders are a lot better now, and you know, you can scratch with any sound now. You know, years ago it was just limited to what stuff you had on vinyl, which was kind of magic in a way because it made you be like super creative with your limitations. But now, you know, if you want to scratch your own voice or something from the, like a sample from the TV or something off YouTube or whatever, or your cat meowing or whatever it is.
I really like that. Getting creative with your limitations. I like that. That's a.
Do you think a lot of those points that you've made there translate over to the other elements as well, like for b-boying and MCs and writers as well, like, and you know, that whole the advance of technology alongside the kind of just the everyone pushing each other is kind of, it's people evolving, you know, it's evolution. Whilst actually on the outside world, it seems like the human race on the whole is devolving. You know what I mean? So the creativity seems to at least be keeping evolution alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Should we see Rasp getting creative?
Yes. So that's good. What a great link that was there, Seek. Good segue in there.
See what I did there?
Yeah. All right, Rasp's going to get down for us. I'm going to mute everyone's mics apart from Rasp's, of course.
Okay. I'll just do a little, I don't know, a little 2-minute thing or whatever.
Yes, DJ Rasp on the 1s and 2s.
Nice one.
Oh, it was sick, man. That was dope.
Big up, mate. That was fucking dope, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's crazy.
So Rasp, thanks for coming along and stick around for the rest of the show as well. And feel free to chip in with comments and questions and whatnot. And we are going to be, you know, kind of, we're going to play some games a little bit later on once we've got everyone in as well.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks for having us. I really enjoy it, man. It's been great to be part of this. And
thanks, man.
Thank you as well, mate.
Yeah.
Really appreciated.
Before
we just move on, Rasp, is there anyone you want to big up or anything you want to plug?
Well, big up everyone in this situation. You know, stay positive, and the hip hop community out there. And I'll plug a record. I brought this record out.
Sweet.
It's a little scratch vinyl. It's called Hadouken Breaks.
Wicked.
I was saying you should definitely do like a version with verse off me on, like, definitely, because, you know.
Yeah, man. So
sick.
Yeah, it's available. Send me a DM. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, man. Get at him for that.
Yeah.
So next up, man.
All right. So hopefully, when I press this admit button here, none other than the legendary, the one and only Blade.
Yo.
Oh, hang on, who's this?
Sadwood's Blade. Yay!
Yes, Blade.
How you doing?
You good, mate?
Good.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I've just been. I'll show you what I've been doing.
Here we go.
So you see.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's some heavy. Nice.
So excuse the t-shirt being really dirty, the hat being dirty, and you know, the gas masks and the sunglasses.
So Rasp was just talking about the technological advances of DJing, and we can see that you've got the latest new mark stand scratcher there.
Yeah, I have.
Nemo sand scratcher.
Oh dear.
Right, come on, Blade. You've got to take that mask off because you know we need to see those fucking beautiful southern.
Oh, but it's not really me.
That's what I'm worried about. We might have an Alistair on our hands.
Oh, bro, that's.
There he is.
There he is.
But I'm gonna choke in the dust.
But we can hear you clearer now.
Oh,
Is
look!
it-
I got a cap with a light on.
Oh,
Look, it flashes.
Okay, now. Yes.
right. This is already like no other Blade interview you've seen before.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So it's actually I'm gonna jump in the comment section. Seek and Karlow are gonna take over the interview on here, but I'll chip in as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Fire away.
Should I
Yeah,
put on
man.
some glasses and try and look like you?
Yeah.
Look, the two of you.
Yeah,
Yo,
mate.
see, you need to put on some glasses as well.
I can't see anyway. I'm absolutely pissed out my head.
Yeah.
I'm drinking pints of cheap rosé.
Yo, bro, can
Hey.
you make me another one of them pizzas you made me when I was up there?
Ah, you see, you know about Seeky's cooking, you see.
Hey, Blade,
Yeah.
first of all, man, thank you very much for coming on, mate. We really
Yeah,
do
man.
appreciate it, brother.
It's all good, bro.
So, let's fire with some questions, eh? So, what was your first encounter with hip-hop?
I think it was end of 79, beginning of 80. I mean, people always question dates, because it's it's not like we went around with a diary writing everything we did, So when you're talking about going back to 40 years ago, it's kind of, do I even remember my name back then? But yeah, so I heard Sugar Hill Gang. And, then I started dabbling straight away. It was like, wow, this is different. Because back then, it was kind of coming to the end of disco and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
I started getting into pop music. And pop music back then was actually really cool.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we a couple of years after that, or 2-3 years after that, we'd have things like Buffalo Girls in the charts and Wham Rap.
Malcolm McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
But yeah, I started dabbling with Sugar Hill Gang around end of 79, 80, but I wasn't really a rapper then. You know what I mean? I was more like into body popping, and I used to be able to do like the little waves and shit. I was into body popping. I was trying to do breaking, but the only thing I could really do with breaking was turtle, backspin, and floor rocking. I never managed to get the windmills done. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that was my first encounter with hip hop, and it was actually back then it wasn't even called hip hop; it was just called rap. You know what I mean?
Right.
It became a culture when the whole graffiti and beatboxing, rapping, DJing, and everything came into context, and then it suddenly got a name because before that it was electro.
Yeah.
Right.
So what was happening locally around you?
Well, locally, what was going on is that I didn't have any money, so I used to shoplift quite a lot.
Feel the hustle.
This is your shit. This is the type of shit we want to hear, man. Elaborate, brother.
So we had like a 7-Eleven in the village, like where our school was. They used to have Blackheath Village, and all the other kids used to get pocket money, and I didn't because there was a war back home. And they all used to make fun of me. So I started going around. I used to go into the 7-Eleven, and them lot would walk out with 1 can of Coke. I'd walk out with 5. They paid for theirs. I didn't. So who's better off? The guys with money or the guys without?
Yeah, man.
So yeah. No, I mean, look. We started little crews. I mean, I keep mentioning Covent Garden because that's part of my journey. But the reality is, my hip hop journey began in my boarding school. So that's where it all really began for me, in the boarding school. But then through the boarding school, I started hearing about Covent, and Covent was just part of the journey. But it wasn't really till about 83 that I really started getting into the rapping side of things, And yeah, we just built it from there. But like before that, I dabbled in everything. So we used to get I actually like used to go around, and I shouldn't even say this, but I pickpocketed quite a lot.
Don't come out now.
But I gathered money, and I managed to buy myself a massive boombox. And I got one of my friends to spray it like the Buffalo Girls one. Buffalo Girls. Bro, you must remember the record it was on. Was it Buffalo Girls, where you had that boombox and the horns and everything?
Yeah, that was Buffalo.
Yeah.
It was Buffalo Girls, right?
Yeah.
Malcolm McLaren.
Yeah. So I got somebody to spray the boombox, and then we all just chipped in to buy batteries. And then we used to take the Greenwich Park, and we used to like basically set it up next to where the statue is at the top of the hill, and just break dance with the crew and stuff, and we just did it just so we could get girls, really. But
so you did some beatboxing as well, am I right, Blade, or what?
Yeah, I used to beatbox. I mean,
that might come in handy later.
It might do, but it won't, because my lips are really dry and they're cracking.
Are you saying that if you try beatboxing, your lips are going to fall off?
I'm saying if I try beatboxing, my lips are probably just, look, let me try. I'll show you. And it just stays stuck together.
I was hoping you were going to have a goldfish bowl handy somewhere as well.
Oh, you read about that? Dude, I really caught people off guard with that. Seriously, when anyone who saw it, they would say, how the fuck are you doing that? Because you have the mic at the bottom of the fishbowl and have another mic to the throat, and it was all you're hearing is the humming and the beatboxing. And then because the bubbles are coming to the top, I needed a third person to hold another mic. So if I ever performed it live, a third person's holding the mic and into the bowl.
Fucking hell. Hey, so just going back to the previous question about your first encounter with hip hop.
Yep.
Can you recall what it felt like when you first encountered hip hop?
I mean, the only thing I can really compare it to, really, is when you first encounter a girl and you realize that a girl is a girl.
Okay.
It was like, this is different. You know there's something going on. And you got all the feelings going on under there. No, it was different. It's like, I mean, at the time that I encountered hip hop, it was like, to many people, it was just like, I remember everyone saying, it's just a phase you're going through. Not just to us, but to anyone into hip hop. It's just a phase. And there was a few of us that were on show in the world that, this is going to change the world. And we stuck.
Not just a fashion.
Exactly. It's not just a fashion. It's not a phase. This is life changing. Yeah. You know? So for me, it's like, it was, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? And from then on, it was just like, you're hooked. And everything, it's like, let me explain it this way. So we're in English literature, or in English language or whatever, and we get assignments. And the assignment is, talk about something that you're passionate about. And everyone's talking about, they're talking about geography or history or whatever. And me, I'm saying I want to come and perform. So we bring my boombox into the classroom. I've got my of breakers and body poppers. We moved all the desks out the way. And we're there all body popping, breaking while I'm rapping. And, you know what I mean? Basically, that was how deep we were in it. Like it was, for us, it was like, yo, this is it. This is our future. You know what I mean?
Can you remember any like battles or anything from back in the day? Like, what was it like battling in the early days in the cyphers, street cyphers?
I mean, you know what? Because I used to partner with Merlin. Yeah. And Merlin
was to Merlin.
Merlin was a sick battler. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the lyrics he came out with, fuck. Oops, I shouldn't be swearing, but fuck.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
That's all good, man.
But yeah, so me and Merlin used to perform together quite a lot, and whenever there was jams going on, like big events, like Baggy Bags, ice cream promotions, and whatever, used to put on events as well. And I don't know if Merlin was there with the ice cream promotions, but with Baggy Bags, like whenever Baggy Bags and Chris were there doing the events and everything, we were there, and there was battles going on. There was because we used to hold quite a lot of competitions, and they weren't little competitions like 100 people. They were like 1,000 people there, 800 people all the time. And these are jams that are organized by us kids.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You know, it wasn't like some big organization. We were just like, fuck it, let's just do it. And like in the competitions, there used to be like DJ competitions, breakdancing competitions, rap competitions. You know what I mean? So me and Merlin, we went in as a partnership, as a rap duo. But Merlin was the rapper and I was the beatbox.
Ah, okay.
So I was rapping. I didn't get into the rap stuff because I didn't feel I was good enough. Because I was hearing, for me, I was hearing other kids that I thought were rubbish, and I'm like, why are you exposing yourself?
Yeah.
Even though I was like 14 or 15, I was like, why are you exposing yourself? You should go and perfect your skills before you show yourself. And that's why, come 86 or 87, when me and Merlin went our separate ways, Merlin went and signed a deal with Rhythm King. He got his records out. I disappeared. And the next time you heard from me was at the end of 89 with Lyrical Maniac. And you saw the difference. You know what I mean? So,
wicked, man. So did that push you to... So did the fact that you and Merlin went separate ways and Merlin like went and got his deal, did that kind of push you to go and do your thing? Like, you know, did it like drive you more?
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, I've always had love for Merlin. There's never been anything but love for Merlin. You know what I mean? Like, we were a partnership and, you know, we had some amazing times. It was funny as hell, entertaining, you know what I mean? But in all honesty, hip-hop is a competitive sport.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, right, like, so when I see Merlin getting signed, you know, because we've gone our separate ways, and when I see Merlin getting signed, because I remember going up to Rhythm King with him. You know what I mean? Like a few times we went there, we'd see each other, but, you know, I remember walking into the studio and Tim Simmons on Bomb the Bass was there, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, when I saw Merlin, I was like, you know what? Merlin's had his break, but I want to make records better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You waited patiently.
If I come out, I'm doing this on my own. I ain't got a record label backing me, so I want to make sure that my first record is gonna hit people hard. And I wasn't really bothered whether it was a commercial success or not. I just wanted to make a hot record.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And
You made some dope records.
Yeah. So
For sure.
exactly. I'm not saying that Merlin didn't do that. He of course did. You know what I mean? Merlin, like I said, was a sick MC. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can take away from that. Exactly. Oh my God.
Do you know one of the biggest realizations of my... Oh, look at that sign, man.
Do you know what it says on it? Can I just tell you what it says? Do you remember what it says, please?
What?
Do you remember what my record says? You signed my record in Newcastle like a couple of years ago.
Probably something like, you're a dickhead, fuck off, you can't, blah, blah.
No, I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. It says, to Ken, you're the second best MC I heard after me.
Okay.
To be fair, I told him to write it, so.
You know, one of the biggest realizations I ever had of Blade's history, like obviously I'm familiar with a lot of his work, but when he come up to Burnley for some of his afternoon pies, I said, Woody, Blade's coming over, and Woody's, you know, Woody got me into Blade. He's a massive fan. He contributed to one of Blade's albums and stuff like that. You know, when Blade were asking for financial backing off people because he had a massive support, you know, network and what have you. But Woody just turned up to my house with this fucking massive stack of vinyl. Can you sign every one of them? And you can see like Blade's face, like, fuck it, I'm going to be here forever. Just like working his way down pile.
Lee's fucking Seek's living room looking like a flea market and shit.
Yeah. But look, what I was saying about Merlin, to answer your question, did that drive me? Yes, it did, because I saw Merlin get there, and I use that as an inspiration source because, like, you know, he can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if there was any one person in the scene that I was not actually, you know, like I said, with hip hop, it's a competitive sport. But you know, I wouldn't even say if there was one person, because there was a lot of people. I had a lot of respect for a lot of artists. So I wasn't even competing with them. I was just trying to carve my own path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was standing on stage and someone was being cocky. I'd be like, all right, well, this is a boxing ring now.
Yeah. So that brings us on nicely to the next question, Blade. So what do you think of modern day battle rap?
I mean, like the last ones that I've been watching is like Disaster. And for me, Disaster is my favorite.
Oh, Diz is sick, yeah, man.
Yeah. This is, know what I mean? But obviously, I was around when Respect BA was battling and Stig and all them guys were battling. You know what I mean?
BA is fucking dope, man.
Shout out to Stig too.
Listen, I'm going to show you something, right? You see this, right? This used to be my recording studio. When I bought this house, right, the first thing I did was convert this into a recording studio. So at the end of that wall, there was a mixing desk and whatever. And you know what used to happen? You see the floor there? That's where BA used to sleep and write lyrics.
Yeah, because Respect BA was your heart man, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so
man.
yeah, that's where he used to sit. Like literally, he was sitting on the floor all the time, then lying down. And you know, we had a spare room in the house, and he didn't want to use that. He wanted to be in the studio. So
Yes.
I remember just Respect BA's battle against Ilmac. I think it's one of the very few times that I've seen Immaculate actually go, fuck, this guy's fucking sick, man.
Yeah,
So
no,
shout out to Respect BA, man.
yeah, he's a very clever lyricist. I was actually talking to him the other day, and we were just kind of reminding ourselves of the past. The truth is, at first, my missus kicked him out of the spare room because he was smoking in there.
He had no respect, BA.
He ended up in the studio, and he was happy to sleep on the floor when it was actually a floor with wooden floors and whatever. And he was happy because we had a fridge in here, and in the fridge there was tons of coke, and he was a coke addict. He was just constant. Like, you know, like you got chain smokers. Like, you know, that was BA. He had one coke, another coke.
Hey, and I saw that thing you put out over there with you and BA, where you were messing around doing voiceovers and shit, man. But there was just a little clip, and it said something about you've had more of them.
He's had more of them.
One of yous was saying that you had more of them clips. That would just one of the.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome to see them, man.
Yeah, but to me that was the funniest one. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because just because, like, you know, it's like I'm too old. You know, I don't think my bones can take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
that was dope.
No, we done some other ones. We done some prostitute ones. We done some gay ones. Loads of them. It's just funny shit. Some of it's a bit too rude. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, Karlow. If we ever end up battling Respect BA, we're definitely going to have to bring it up about about Respect BA getting kicked out of that room.
You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to battle him, to be fair.
No. I'm not sure you could take him. I mean, at his peak, you couldn't take him. I don't know many people that could, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, he's blown me away. Like I said, there's not many people make Immaculate go.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I think he might have sat me on my arse here. Like.
But you know, like, you know, as in today's battling. See, when we used to battle back in the days, we had, you know, it was a lot more basic. You know what I mean? But a lot of it was down to the performance rather than the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you say something and your facial actions and whatever just kind of express something, and you know what I mean? But today, I mean, like the battle MCs, the stuff that they come out with is just ridiculous. But you know, it's like, and not only that they come out with it, but there's an hour of it.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
Especially with Disaster.
I'm saying, my man's just like flippity flip 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 flip. You know what I mean?
It's aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
When Disaster, I was with Seek at Seek's house, and Disaster, we paid for pay-per-view to watch Cannabis, who was like our favourite rapper at time. You know, we buzzed off all Cannabis's albums growing up and stuff, and we was like, you know, we were rooting for Biss to kill it. Do you know what I mean? And Diz just smoked him.
I was as well.
And and when he started choking, I was like, can you remember, see? We were like, oh, there's something wrong with feed. We just weren't having it. I was like, and then I was like, no, we're jumping all over the room, like, fuck, he's choking.
But the thing is, you had these battles, didn't you, where he like battled LL Cool J on vinyl and stuff like that. He had a bit of beef with KRS and what have you. you know, and he was fucking brilliant on vinyl battling when you're putting tracks
Yeah,
out,
but-
and then when it comes to that, it's a
This is
different
it.
game,
This
isn't it?
It's a totally different game, man. It's like, you know, it's different.
Look, the bottom line is, right, and this is the reality. Is he went into it thinking he was doing another LL Cool J battle with your couple of verses, and then you disappear for 4 months and come back with nothing. It wasn't like that. You had to come prepared, and he had never been in that situation before.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the reality is, even like, say, myself, it's like, even though I watch all of those guys, I wouldn't want to put myself in that situation because I'm more of a songwriter than a battler now.
Yeah.
So I would have to assess that situation and go, do I really want to go here? You know what I mean? And I wouldn't. It's like you're putting yourself in a lion's cage. You're locking the door, and there's 74 lions around you.
Cannabis to me was like he's one of those artists that's like all his features were amazing. Like he's featuring on someone else's track. Like I think to this day is my favorite track by him is Making a Name for Ourselves, which is on the Common Sense LP.
Yeah, that's dope.
His third LP, which is like it's such an amazing track, and Cannabis's verse is so dope on it. But to me, a Cannabis album never like really sat up to his kind of his reputation. You know, it was always. You know
what that is though. What I was saying about the competitiveness in hip hop. He's now featuring on someone else's record, so he's got to come back.
Yeah.
Who's he competing with when he's doing it himself?
Yeah.
The only person that I know in hip hop that can battle himself and do better than himself is Kool Keith.
Ultramagnetic.
Yeah. And he said it, didn't it? It's like I battle myself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I tell you, I did enjoy when he was when he made the Rip the Jacker album with Stoop, The Enemy of Mankind. That was good because the production was it was almost like Latin-esque fucking weird Stoop style, and I loved what Cannabis did on that. So that it kind of ticked the box.
For me, was 100 bars because I'd already done a track with over 100 bars.
Yeah.
It was just 10 minutes of non-stop rapping, and then when I heard that, I was like, "Oh fuck, someone's done it as well now."
Mate, when I heard that, blew my mind. When I heard that track, I remember hearing that on Westwood. It were.
Yeah.
And I remember my fucking head fell off. I was like, what? When I take a big piece of chalk and draw a line across the stage pulpit. I dare a motherfucker to cross it. I was like, what the fuck? Who's this guy like? Shit.
Exactly. But you see, that's all well and good for vinyl, and that's all well and good for imagery.
Yeah.
But when you're stepping into a battle arena with people like Disaster, just going in there not knowing anything about them.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, you've literally got if you've got a battle and you're told 4 months before that you've got a battle with somebody, right? What you do, the first 2 months is going to be research. The next 2 months is going to be writing and memorizing.
Yeah.
And then it's just basically taking little bits out of each section and then dropping a name, or if someone claps or farts or something, you drop that into it to make it look like it's live.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, so it's just being smart. I mean, I watch BA, lying on the floor there, and they memorize a lot, but they're also clever with the way they drop things in that they see around them inside of what they're saying.
Yeah, you've got to incorporate a bit of freestyle in it, certainly, man.
And unfortunately, Fingy wasn't, he wasn't there, Biz.
Yeah, I've almost felt like he was in the middle of a psychosis or something, mate. It was weird.
Yeah, it was.
I know he's had some. I'm sure I read that he's had some mental health problems and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I met Biz. I've got a picture of me with him somewhere. I think it was at Choice FM, and he seemed all together. When I met him, he seemed like composed. He was all together and everything. But like I said, I just think he didn't analyze. Like, someone like me, for example, because I've had Respect VA around me, I know what's going on in the battle world.
Yeah.
What's going on then is now elevated to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Because back then you had 3 1-minute rounds. Now you got like 17 4.5-month rounds. Do you know what I mean? it's crazy. It's like the levels are mad.
Yeah, it's the evolution thing we were talking about before, and like all the elements, like Rasp was talking about it as well when he like how the DJ technology has advanced so much, and it's the same for Jackson. Would say, you know, I think he's a young lad, so it's in a short time of being a b-boy, the amount of time, the amount it's advanced, is phenomenal.
Flying.
So look at all of the elements and the way that people are kind of advancing the artistry. Like it's unbelievable. Like
it's mental. You just need to know what you're stepping into. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, look, the thing is, if anyone says to me, would you go and battle disaster now? You know me, my excuse, like, to get out of it would be like, you know, I got better things to do with my life. I have a child.
I'm busy renovating my house right now.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of sanding. Mate. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, I've got sanding to do. What the hell?
So listen, talking about artistry, man. Let's take it from another angle now. This is my tedious link right here, but artistry, and it's No Sleep Nigel. Tell me about meeting Nigel. So, for people who don't know, Nigel, for the younger generation, is a legendary sound engineer. He's worked with a lot of people. He knows the hip-hop scene in the UK by the back of his hand. So, tell us a bit about No Sleep Nigel, Blade.
How did you meet him?
One sec. I am just turning the alarm off.
About No Sleep Nigel.
Okay, No Sleep Nigel. Right, so what happened is I've been hassling Pete Tong for quite a while to get me signed to London Records.
Okay.
And Pete Tong, I think he saw me at a couple of shows and he was like, really like what you're doing. So we linked up, we met. But every time I chased him, I got nowhere. And eventually he gave me some money to go to a recording studio. Yeah. So we went to the recording studio, which was Cold Storage in Brixton, Acre Lane. Was it Acre Lane? I think it was Acre Lane, yeah. So when we went into the studio, we had 4 days booked. It was 4 days booked. No, it was actually 3 days booked. So we're there recording, and the guy who was engineering at the studio had no idea how to use the sampler. We'd already gone in there, but it's taken him 3 days to even loop 2 samples together and run them together.
Shit.
Right? So we're like, I had to go and complain to the manager and say, look, we paid for all this time in the studio. We have literally sat here for like 32 hours and we've done nothing. You know what I mean? So I said to the guy, look, you know what? You need to rebook the sessions and get us an engineer. Like, we paid for the engineer and everything. You need to get us an engineer that actually knows what they're doing. So, you know, because of the fuss that I kicked up, because, you know, I didn't have another option. What was I going to go back to Pete Tong with?
Yeah.
So I had to kind of kick off a little bit, not like violent or anything, but just like, you know, kind of aggressive in my demeanor, like, no, not taking it, blah, blah. You need to book us in the studio again. And next thing I know is I've got 5 days. So it was better than the 3 days we originally had. So we got 5 days, and the engineer that walks in is No Sleep Nigel. So, like, No Sleep Nigel walks in, and in the first 10 minutes, we're already hearing like loads of different sounds together. And we're like, shit, now we see what's building. I mean, but before we hit the studio, what we used to do like cassette to cassette. So we'd loop something and then loop it again on the cassette. And because we didn't have, you know, I didn't have turntables and stuff. So that's how we did it. And then I'd write rhymes to it. And, you know, it was really prehistoric compared to what it is now. But that's how we met Nigel. And, you know, at first, you know, Nigel was getting paid for the sessions and whatever, but then it came to a point where I was like, look, Nigel, I really need your help. I ain't really got the money. This is the plan. You know, you can see how I'm living because I'm in the studio. Everyone else is eating chicken and chips and whatever. And I'm eating, you know, some French baguettes with, or loaf of bread or whatever with hummus. I mean, and that was my food for the whole night. In the studio. So Nigel basically saw the hunger that I had for the music and what I was prepared to do when I started hitting the streets, and, you know, just literally what I was prepared to do. And yeah, he just basically did the whole of my album on credit. You know what I mean? Nice. And he trusted me with it, and, you know, we've been friends ever since. You know what I mean? Because I didn't let him down. I paid him what I owed him. And we've been friends ever since, really. Whenever I've needed him at last minute, he's always been there. I mean,
He's such a nice guy. I mean, like, obviously, like, when I made the record with you introduced me to Nigel and stuff like that. And, you know, just like immediately from when I spoke to him on the phone, when I was sending him the stems for the track,
yeah.
like, he went out of his way to pass. He went out of his way to pass. Yeah. He went out of his way to pass a lot of advice to me, which he didn't have to do, but he did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
nice
Nigel
guy,
all over.
man. Yeah, man,
That's
he's such a
Nigel
nice
all
guy.
over. But you know, the reason why our relationship works because we don't like each other. I hate Nigel. Nigel hates me. But I'm joking, man. Nigel's family to me, right? And he always will be. Like, you know, we lost contact for a little while. He knows why we lost contact for a little while. But I always, before I disappeared, I said to him, I'm always here. I mean, it's always going to be family, whatever. And Nigel is, you know, one of them guys that, you know, you keep in your life forever because, you know, he's got no bad intentions, no maliciousness about him. He's just a cool dude. And he's intelligent like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, his knowledge of music and like stuff.
Mate, listen, right? I'm sampling stuff, and we've got the samples in the studio, and we're working on things. And Nigel's there with a calculator going, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is he doing? Why do we need a calculator? 5 minutes later, he's back on the sampler, and he's doing time stretching, and he's going. And suddenly everything is in tune, like you wouldn't believe.
Okay, no.
Yeah, let me just tell you this quickly. Well, I was mixing something one time, and I sent it to him to check it out. And he said, no, it's not right, Seeker, because you need to do this. He said, this is no word of a lie. He said, tell me the shape of your living room, because he knew that I met my music in my living room. And I was like, well, there's a couple of alcoves, like, and I've got a little bit under the stairs and all that. And it's like, and how far roughly would you say you are in front of your speakers and all this? And I'm like, well, I'm about this far. And he's like, right, what you need to do is, and he kind of pauses for a minute and he goes, just take, you know how he does in that like quiet intelligence, he says, just take a couple of, like 2 steps forward, 2 mid-sized steps forwards. And is it different there? I step forward and I'm like, fuck me, yeah, it's absolute clarity, like. And he said, that's the spot you trust. That's the spot you trust. And I was like, what the fuck, man?
But you see, when we were mixing down Fuck the Fans, remember I said to you, just listen to everything this guy says.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, I knew a legend already, but when I spoke to him, it just become apparent why.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's basically it. He's next level. Seriously.
He is.
You know, I mean, you know, he's old now, so I don't know. You know, we're all old now. Yeah, so I don't know how long he's going to carry on doing the music, but the day he stops is going to be a massive, massive loss for hip-hop in this country.
Yeah, man. Got a question there, Karlow?
Yeah, man. So, last question we got for you, Blade, is where did the label name 691 Influential come from?
Okay, there wasn't eBay back then, so it wasn't from eBay. And there wasn't Amazon as well, so it was none of those places. Right. Basically, I used to live in New Cross in London.
Right.
And when I started the label, for me, it was for me to remember my beginnings. No matter how far I go in my life or how far I don't go, the idea was that I always remember my humble beginnings.
Okay.
So the phone code for New Cross was 691. It was 0208 691, and my phone number was 2212.
Okay.
So 691, and I'm sitting there with 691, and one night I'm just kind of like not able to sleep and everything, and I'm like, I want to influence people. I want to encourage people to do the good thing, the right thing. And so I'm like, yeah, influential. You know what? Fuck it, 691 influential. And that was the idea. You know what I mean?
Simple and effective.
But it's great that I mean, that's a really key word that like came up again in a discussion before we were having just about influence, and people like Jackson was talking about people who brought him up and who he really looked up to. But it's really interesting to look at the word influence, and like the people who you're influenced by, if you have your close relationship with them, that more likely that you're influencing them as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's a great relationship to have.
It's a two-way thing. And right now, if I want to write a rap, I'm listening to the younger, so they're influencing me.
Yeah.
Without being bad, why would I want to listen to a 50-year-old rapping the same way he was doing 30 years ago and want to be like that? I'm not trying to compete with the elders. You know, I'm trying to convince the youngers I'm still 18.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've what they call it? So a little while back we were having a conversation on the phone, and you said I want to show you some lyrics that I've got stored on my computer. And I remember you showed me, and I was just like, "What the fuck, man?" I felt privileged, man. I phoned Woody up and I said, "Hey, I've heard some shit you want." And he's like, "You what?" I said, "I've been speaking to Blair. He's told me some lyrics, and you haven't heard them, Woody."
Yeah. So if I'm correct with the lyrics, the lyrics are kind of personal to me. Basically, what it was, my son was in nursery, and I went to pick him up, but I was too early, and they wouldn't let me in. So I walked back out. I went and sat at the bus stop, and I was under the shelter. It was raining and stuff. It was only like not heavy rain, but it was raining. And I had about 15, 20 minutes, and I just started writing, and the first line just kicked in, and I was like, shit, this isn't stopping. And I just kept writing. And by the time, I'd finished, I was like, oh, cool. They're ready for me to go and pick up my son. But that was, for me, that was like an important moment, because it felt like the way I was writing and the kind of things that I was going to come out with was going to take things to a whole different new level for me. Like the depth was going to be a lot more serious. But at the same time, it's like, it was still putting images in people's heads and all kinds of stuff. So, you know what I mean? It's like as a breaker, if you're speaking to Watson right there, as a breaker, it's like when you do something that is going to now take it to a new direction, you just kind of go, oh shit, I know. Same for you as a DJ. Same, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me, at that particular moment, I was like, oh my God, I've just stumbled onto something. And that was a life-changing moment. And I realized it once I wrote the first 4 or 5 bars.
Yeah, man.
Go.
Let's hear it then. Let's hear it.
Let's hear some bars, man.
Okay. I don't know it all by heart now because it's many years ago, but so if you don't mind, I'll read it.
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah.
Awesome, man.
I wrote these rhymes under the street lamps. Hold on.
How typical is that, man?
All the silence, and then all of a sudden it kicks in. All right, so it goes, I wrote these rhymes under the street lamps. Once upon a time, I used to walk with the champs, but then the champs turned to chumps. That's when I decided to break away from this hypocritical life I'm living and travel in my own direction. My destination awaits, the road's mysterious and full of bad mistakes. Every day's another lesson in the learning. I'm physically capable and still the fires are burning inside of me. My father guides me, my son inspires me more than I thought. Every time I record, I feel my whole world's lifted. What if I hadn't drifted? I might have been performing on tours and so on. Now that the ego trips are over, I attack every dilemma with the same precision and exactness. My decision's made. I'm looking out for number 1, my son, number 2, his mom. I describe myself as energetic and caring and humorous on application forms while in search for work. My confidence level is rising. No more stress, no more confusion, no more promises made to break. At last, I can see the sun rise in the morning, preparing myself for a brand new dawning, backtracking and checking errors never to be made by the same man twice in the space of a lifetime. Now's the time. Vengeance is mine. God, show me a sign. I climb from the gutter to escape the bad times, surrounded by petty minds dwelling on petty crimes. This ain't about me any longer. It's all about my son and my future as a performer. My self-respect is building. My luck seems to be changing. I communicate with children for knowledge and understanding that the grown-ups are missing while trapped in dangerous times where people don't listen. No matter how deep the waters get, I'm swimming in the direction of safety with my head above it. With dedication, I aspire for higher aims, fed up with grown-ups playing their foolish games. My mission is to defeat the odds. I could save myself with some help from the gods. Driven by the force to succeed where others failed. The mind is a prison in itself. I jumped bail, avoided the authorities to get to my destiny. Hard times are needed for bringing out the best in me. Maybe my soul will finally rest in me. I shook hands with the devil and gave him hell for testing me. I'm manifesting me. Before the performance is over, you'll be studying me lyrically and mentally.
Fucking hell,
Oh man. Sick.
You heard it here first.
Sick, man. Dope.
For me, that was like a turning point. It was like I discovered myself. I found myself now.
Yeah,
Shook hands with the devil and gave him hell for testing me.
Yeah, man.
So that's
Sick,
one of
mate.
my favorite lines of all time. So
yeah.
Brilliant, mate.
man.
Brilliant.
How long ago did you write that, if you don't mind us asking?
It was when my son was a couple of years old. That was in 1993. So it would have been end of 94.
Wow.
Around mid to end of 94. Again, you know, I don't want anyone listening to this interview and then saying I'm trying to push the dates back and trying to, like, you know, but yeah, I was there and I wrote it, and yeah, I had a pad and a pen, and there was a bus stop, if I remember correctly.
So man, it's a real privilege to hear a verse like that as well. Like that's, you know, it's
Yeah,
on
man.
So yeah, man. Thank you very much for sharing.
But what I was just saying about the bus stop and the pen and the pad, Seek knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a private joke.
Yeah.
On Bandcamp. So I'm going
Okay.
to share a track. It's an authentic track by one of the Northentic called Lomax.
Okay.
It's just come out recently. Let me just sort it out.
So it's produced by Lomax as well, and it's engineered by Seeker.
And it's called Quit Quitting.
Yo, my head's spinning, got the vortex, G-force, smooth swinging up and down, bouncing like a seesaw. Try and help myself, but then what's my GP for? Told him it's my vice of life, went out and bought more. Spare a part for the water on and walked off. I stumbling by to keep tripping round the next corner. Northern casting a spell like a sorcerer. Evaporate the paper like a money launderer. Still a flow refined to be flexing the formula, so I can splash acid at a white rapper's cornea. Borderline insane, maybe on the other side. I can't get my shit together, maybe in another life. Still a right barbed wire lines and cut you like a knife. Won't be stopping for that trouble and strife. I'm still hip hop until I'm dropping on the afterlife, and no more progress without a little sacrifice. Quit quitting, so let me hit 'em with the pre-written. You don't need to listen for me to keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. It don't matter who listen if I keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. You don't need to listen for me to keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. It don't matter who listens. So it's peaks and troughs and on with the roller coaster. Always did hold my head high and hopeful. Notepads to make the words sparkle like an opal. No get up and go, the flow drowns in the ocean. Forget the boasting, let the mind flip the overdrive. Hoping I can live to be a better man personified. Homicide on the old me, thinking slowly ain't good for nobody. Smoking up a rollie, only got one time around in this moment. And lately I be acting like my own worst opponent. On any given day I don't know where my phone went. Make an excuse about tracks and the components, but really I've been slacking for years on my lonesome. Rapping never really disappeared, now it's potent. Just another way to bounce shit out in the open. A compilation of my thoughts that leave the mic smoking. Yo, I'm quit quitting, so let me hit 'em with the pre-written. You don't need to listen for me to keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. It don't matter who listen if I keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. You don't need to listen for me to keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. It don't matter who listens. So everywhere I turn I'm seeing herbs on my eyes blurred like a bird of prey zoning in. Hokey dokey, then what we got here, you can smell it when the doors open, no joking. Whole world know the shit you're smoking. Plus now we got these PC wannabes. Please get your nose out my face, bitch, it's on the breeze. Making moves to lock you up for gathering evidence. Walk a tightrope if you're growing in your residence. Bleeding's irrelevant, thieving's an ever-present danger. Man crashing through your door for your wager. Waving the razor, in case you got the brave behavior. There's no escaping, they ain't leaving till they got the paper. I used to vaporize acres and do it blatant, till my eyes were underweight, grey and looking vacant. Now everybody wants to know about the situation. Well, mind your business while I hit 'em with the education. Quit quitting, so let me hit 'em with the pre-written. You don't need to listen for me to keep spitting. I've quit quitting, hit 'em with the pre-written. It don't matter
Cheers.
Bro, that's sick.
Funky.
Fresh, man.
Sick, man.
Give me a second. Yeah. Hello.
Yo.
Yeah. Listen, Jay. By the way, I'm talking to Jay-Z. One sec. Yo, listen, Jay. You asked me about an MC. Right? And keep an eye out, and if you hear anything good. So I've just found a person. I'm on a live chat with somebody. Yeah, and Lomax. Right? Yeah, Lomax. Type that into Google and look for quit quitting. Lomax. Yeah, that could be a big signing. He's dope. Seriously, I was bopping my head all the way through it.
I mean, come on, Leo, man. I can't just be jumping on no private plane.
You know what? Let me put you on speaker so everyone knows I'm talking to you. 1 second. Oh, fuck. It got disconnected.
Again.
I'm sure he'll ring you back, brother.
Yeah. It was me that rang him, but yeah, cool.
Hey, Blade, Lomax is going to be buzzing with that, man.
No, it's wicked, bro. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, recently, so many people have been sending me stuff, and like, I'm just getting kind of tired of the mediocre, and everyone's doing like a boom bap thing and sounding the same, and you know what I mean? It's like, it takes, even though that's straight up hip hop and stuff, there's a clarity in his voice, and it doesn't seem forced. It all just seems natural. Everything just seems, and the lyrics are good. The music is good. I mean, it might be different when I hear it on big speakers, but hearing it through the tablet, the music just sounded tight. Everything sounded good. And
man.
He's saying something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
man.
The thing is, like, everybody's a rapper now. So it's like, if you want to find the good rappers, you got to dig deep. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone raps. And it's got to that point where, like in our day, there weren't that many rappers, but you still had to sound good and do good and be good and whatever. But like I said, now it's like, it's difficult to differentiate because everyone seems to have similar styles, doing similar things. And you know what I mean? Whereas what I just heard there, I would actually buy that.
Wicked, man.
I would buy that.
Nice.
Mate, honestly, he proper inspires me, man. He's just so stylish. He's just got such a stylish fucking way of spitting, and his production is fucking crazy. His production's crazy, man. He's like, Seek, we all like Seek's production and stuff. But I tell you what, Seek, like Lomax is Seek's new favorite producer. That's like, and this Them album, I don't know how much Seek spoke to you about it, but this Them album that we're working on, it's like, Lomax has got quite a few beats on there, and it's like, we look at him as like the epitome of the sound of them. His beats have just got that fucking plodding.
Yeah, it's got a plod into it, but the common word that I use when I'm trying to describe an artist that has something different, and is, what, he's got a cockiness about what he does. He's got a swagger.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? It's like, it makes you, like when I did Lyrical Maniac, I was just making a record, but I knew when I walked out of the studio that I'd done something amazing, and I felt it, and I knew it would make a difference, and everybody was on it, like, you know what I mean? I mean, I'd take a cassette tape and play it in Dixon's to, like, to listen to it, because I didn't have a stereo system, and people come past and go, "What is that? I want to buy it." You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the kind of vibe. It's like, when I'm listening to this, that's the vibe I got. I'm like, yo, I would pay for that. Whereas there's millions of tracks I've heard where, listen, I listen to 5 seconds and I'm bored already.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a disrespect thing, but if you want people to take you serious, just work on your craft and be good.
Yeah.
But now a lot of people are getting away with mediocre or pop music or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. So Lomax, wicked. I never heard of the guy, but he's got himself a new fan.
Nice one, man.
Thanks. Nice one. Yeah, he's going to be buzzing with that.
I hope he's recording this for all the sound bites of his new album. Just be like, just have like a blade. He'll just have a blade sound bite at the beginning of every track now.
Yeah.
Listen. If he's keeping up to that kind of standard, like I said, what I'm hearing on the tablet is sounding wicked. it might sound different on the big speakers. Maybe I'm mishearing it. You know,
It does sound different on big speakers. It sounds 10 times fucking better.
but you know, there are sometimes where, because of the tinniness and everything, you know, the track sounds a bit better. Then you listen to it on big speakers and go, oh, it's not the same. You know?
Yeah,
So
of course.
saying, like, but the thing is, it's like with the other people, it's like they couldn't rhyme like he's rhyming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't have the, you know, the caliber of, you know, or the cadence, and you know what I mean. They didn't have the swag. They didn't have the coolness about it. It was just cool. Do you know what I mean?
One cool motherfucker, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So the real test is just let him rap in the middle of about 50 girls, and if 49 of them jump on him, then he's on it.
Yeah.
The litmus test.
Yeah,
man. Sick.
We're like, obviously don't want to keep you here all evening, but I'm like, it's enjoyable at the same time. Not watching you squirm or anything, just kind of you all look very comfortable in that. So, but
I got nothing bad to do. It's me that's keeping you. I'm not letting you know when I'm joking.
So we wanted to play like a couple of games with you, just to kind of loosen you up at the end and stuff. And we've got a couple of things we can do. So we've got a picture round, and we've got a listening round, and then we've got a really hard b-boy round, which I think Jackson's the only person who's going to know the answers to, because I've not got a clue. But that's what we'll give the young a chance, because he probably won't know the answers to any of the other ones.
Well, I probably won't know the answers to any, because I've been out of the loop for so long now.
Well, there's some older recognizable stuff as well. So and the first round is you've all got to do a little beatbox. That's the first round. Everyone's got to do. So we'll start with Jackson. Okay. It's not a joke.
I'm gonna have to be quiet because my mom's asleep in the next room, but I'll give it a try.
Yeah, go on.
Just any beatbox.
Yeah, go for it.
Right. I'm trying to think. I don't just want to do the boots and cats, you know what I mean? Because that's boring.
Well, I mean, it's immortalized, so it's up to you what you're going to do with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
No pressure. Yeah, nice.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, you can tell he's a big boy. All right, Rasp, your turn.
Well, on the spot, I'm beatbox. Okay, let's see what I can come up with. Hang about. Yeah.
It was all right.
On the spot,
yeah, it's good, man. It's good.
Be beatboxing tonight.
There's a bit of beat juggling there. It's good. Hitting the buttons. All right, Blade, you're next.
Okay, I ain't done this for years. So the one that everyone knows me for, or used to know me for, was Jingle Bells. So I'm not sure if I should do that, but here we go. It goes. Just a simple.
Fucking hell.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, Blade.
So,
all right, we're going to do the picture round. So what it is you're going to see there's a total of 5 hip-hop LPs. Actually, there's one red herring in there that maybe not a hip-hop LP. But there's 5 LP covers, but they're blown up, so you can only see a small section of it, okay? So you're going to try and get as many of them as you can. Just go into screen share, and here we go. You ready?
mm-hmm. Lion.
I'm going to go around again. I'll go backwards as well. Here we go.
Bone Crusher Plus.
Lion.
Yes, Lion.
Low End Theory.
Yes, very good.
Idea.
2 from Rasp.
Are we just calling them out?
Tie. Awkward.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that one's tight.
Shit.
Very good.
TLC. Is it?
No.
What's that one?
No one could get this one. Right. Okay. Hang on. Let me.
I don't know
Write
what
that
that is.
down.
I only know the tribe one, the low end theory.
It was that. Hang on.
Ah, that one, yes.
Oh yeah. I get it
Tetris.
now.
That's a classic.
Bucks Fizz, basically. It was the well-known hip hop classic Bucks Fizz by Bucks Fizz.
Shit.
Yeah.
And you can see the fizz at the bottom. I was
Yeah, you
trying to
could-
get the text.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what does that say? Tiz. Oh, man.
This is for everyone. So, first of all, we'll ask Jackson then. Who was the one person on your scene whose artistry scared you and made you up your game?
If there was anyone on the scene, if we're talking specifically, probably Kid Karam, because I've kind of grew up battling him, and he's beat us a lot. So it's him.
And he's a formidable opponent as well.
Yeah.
He's wicked.
Yeah. He's a very nice guy. He's a nice guy.
I was going to say he's a good guy because I needed some breakers for a video, and I called him, and he was the only person that got back to me straight away and didn't do anything. So yeah, really good guy.
Man. Yeah, bro. No, Kid Karam's a nice guy, man. He's a good guy. He's a sick breaker as well. Very good.
Well, very much like you, we've watched him grow up through the Just Jam scene. Karam was coming to Just Jam when he was a very young lad, and he was actually going through the rounds at quite an early age and getting quite far in the battles and that, battling people, twice his age. But yeah, you have had quite a few conflicts with Karam on the floor.
Yeah, man.
Good answer.
Yeah.
So, Blade, what about you, mate?
Are you talking UK or all over?
Well, let's narrow it down and say UK people who you might have seen coming up on scene that you thought, fucking hell, I won't I'm gonna have to step my shit up because this guy keep bumping into him and he's fucking dope, or along that.
Lomax.
By the time I decided I wanted to MC, I was locked away for a while. So for me, I didn't really. Everybody was competition, and nobody was anyone to be scared of.
Yeah.
But there was people that I respected.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it, man. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So the kind of people that I respected was, your Comanche Slides, your Demon Boys, your MC Mellows, people like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So they were the guys I was looking at.
Mello's a beast.
Yeah, Mello is a beast. And, when I heard those guys, also remember I was partnered up with Merlin.
Yeah.
Well, I used to hear Merlin, and when he was doing his battle rhymes and the way he was, his battle rhymes were funny as hell. You know what I mean? So, he was serious, but he was funny with it as well.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of guys. I wouldn't say I feared anybody. I would just say I respected them.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, man.
You can't go into a situation like that and be scared, because if you're scared, you're never going to improve. You're just going to be on the run all the time.
Yeah, man.
So not fear, respect.
Yeah, man. Cool. What about you, Rasp?
Well, locally, there's a couple of people that, when I first started DJing, that have been doing it for quite some time before me. So I'd see, what they was doing, and, see the techniques, and, they were a bit more advanced. So I'd learn from him, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, there's a few people at that time, in the mid-90s, a guy called Don from my way, another guy called DJ Crow. I just I'd learn from him rather than, wanted to battle him or whatever, But as I progressed, when I was doing DMC, and I first started dipping my toe into regionals and all that, the Scratch Perverts were the ones, setting the standard of the new era
Yeah,
of
of course.
turntablism in this country.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I was just dipping my feet into it, you know what I mean? And learning from watching the DMC videos and, you know, reading in magazines and listening to mixtapes and all that. Yeah. And plenty of other guys as well, you know, that it's ever evolving, the turntablist scene. So I wouldn't say there's one person, but, you know, like maybe a collective of people that I'd think, oh yeah, I like what they're doing. I'll try and do what they're doing and just make it my own kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Do you want to ask the last question, Ken?
Yeah. So, apart from your chosen art form that you're most well known for, and what other element of hip hop would you choose or like kind of pursue after the one that you already do?
Who's that aimed at?
Everyone, so we'll go Jackson first. I know you're a dope MC as well, Jackson.
Yeah, I'd definitely choose music, like, because I can't, like, graph at all. That's just out the window. I like to watch it and I like to see it done, but I can't do that. But yeah, definitely rhyming, making beats. Like
Rhyming and making beats.
Yeah, that'd be the producing and making like music and rapping, and yeah, that'd be the one. Other than breaking, for sure.
Sick, man.
Blade?
I mean, it's like obviously I was rapping and I was producing and I was beatboxing.
Mm-hmm.
So that only leaves graffiti and, you know, DJing and breakdancing. You know, b-boying.
Pick one.
So,
pick one.
If I was young, I would say b-boying. I would say b-boying because I loved watching all of that, and you know, I became good friends with like people like Second to None and Born to Rock.
Shout out to Second to None every time. Yeah.
Bro, it's like I've said it, and I said it publicly. You know, for me, my favorite two crews of all time were Battle Squad and Second to None.
Yeah.
I mean, but I was talking to Toes from Born to Rock yesterday as well. I mean, so them guys, and they were wicked as well. You know what I mean? And they came down and did a video shoot for us as well, and they were just humble as anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say b-boying because as much as I like DJing, it's like I don't know if I want to have 1 million records in my house. Oh, you'd have to buy a massive house. You know what I mean? I know DJs that put their record collection in their garden shed and had it all ruined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nah, yeah, b-boying. Yeah.
What about you, Rasp?
Well, I've always been interested in art, so I'd say graph. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Getting up.
Can you actually do any? Have you had to do any? Or?
Yeah, I used to do some back in the days. Yeah, I used to go out tagging and all that when I was a little bit younger, but I never pursued it. You know what I mean? I just did it for fun.
Yeah.
But every now and again, I have a little bit of a doodle. You know, and yeah, I like to do it. It's very therapeutic and yeah.
It's like talking to goldfish, isn't it?
It's like what?
It's like talking to goldfish.
Talking to goldfish.
Did you used to take the goldfish out the bowl before you started the beatbox?
Bro, there was never any fish in there. Look, I didn't even buy the bowl. I was given it. You know what I mean?
He's just trying to frame you so you can get done for animal cruelty, Blade.
Just visions of a traumatized goldfish being spat at by Blade.
Hey, am I right in saying, Ken, that you're one of the few people I know that can actually do a bit of each element?
I think there's loads of people who can, but I think I've dabbled in most things. I started off breaking and I started off robotics in the popping, in the breaking. Yeah. And so breaking was my first thing, but then at that point was like doing quite a lot of graph.
When did you start the robotics?
83.
Okay, because you know, I was having this conversation with Toes, yeah, and apparently robotics. I didn't even know this, but apparently robotics was like around in '78.
Yeah.
Like '76 or something.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then bit by bit it became body popping, and you know what I mean?
Well, there's mime elements in robotics, isn't there? So mime artistry's been around for. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that, but with the umbrella going backwards, yeah.
Well, that's it. But yeah, man. So that was my transition. But I've settled as an MC is what I like. But I still make beats and that, and I play with these things as well, like, because I love records. And
that's the one thing I can do a little bit. I used to have some sick mills. I was a b-boy before I was a rapper. I just got into rapping because I was a stoner and it was easier. I couldn't be asked. We used to go to Thompson Centre, me and Seek, practicing in Burnley every Saturday and Sunday. And I'd always be at fire escape smoking a joint before I'd even do a windmill. I couldn't even be asked stretching, so I used to always like pull muscles and shit. And I just realised one day that, you know what, actually I could probably rap and leave a freestyle into my Seek, doing some freestyles.
We did that at one of our shows. Decided to just play a game where I don't know what came over me. I just said to the DJ, "Why don't you come and rap?" You know what I mean? And he's like, "All right." And he's like, "Why don't you get a DJ?" I'm like, "All right." Dude, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but he managed to rap, but I just couldn't DJ. I was trying to scratch, and I was like, "Bloody hell!" It's like everything.
It's fucking well. That's one thing I just can't work it out. My brain just won't, and it's so frustrating to me. It's just so frustrating. Like, all I wanted to be able to do is do cuts on my own shit. You know what I mean? So I could just
there's a simpler way to do that, innit? It's like when you go into the toilet next time, take a knife with you. When you shit, just do some cuts in it.
Yeah, he's got a point. Has a point.
Yeah, he's got a good point there.
Don't say the obvious, innit?
There's a try. I'll give it a try after this.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes, Blade.
All right.
Yeah.
Yo, I think my battery's about to go. It's only 1% now.
Okay,
yeah, we're going to end it there. So, yeah, man, bless and peace for all of you for coming and taking part in this. Like, it's the first Northentic Elements podcast. I've had a blast. I've had a real good time talking to all of you and finding out more about you and stuff and connecting with you. And long live hip hop and all power to you guys and everything that you do.
Yeah, and thanks for having us, man. Thanks for having
me, boys.
Man, I appreciate it.
Much love. Take care, fellas.
Thanks for having us, man. It's been amazing.
Thank you, man. Nice one.
Just duck out, you guys. If you need to duck out, let's go, and we'll just say our goodbyes as well. So if you want to follow Northentic Records on the YouTube page and the Facebook page and find out more of what we're doing, we'll keep you posted on more of the Northentic Elements podcasts coming up, and also all sorts of other live activity that we're going to be populating our pages with. Look out for Northentic Records releases. Of course, look out for all of our guest stuff. Check out Jackson on Facebook, Instagram's his main domain. So check him out. Jackson.blc. Check out DJ Rasp on multiple platforms. He's on Instagram as
just DJ Rasp on everything.
DJ Rasp on everything. That's his tagline. DJ Rasp on everything.
On everything.
Sick.
I get around.
Yeah. And then if you don't know about Blade, check the back catalogue and also check out the recent release, Fuck the Fans on Northentic Records as well, which is actually a play. It doesn't mean fuck the fans. It means peace to the fans. It's a shout out to the fans there. A nice piece of work produced by Seek and also featuring Seek as well. So thank you all for coming along and thank you all for listening. And we'll see you next time on Northentic Elements. Peace.
Peace. See you later, boys.
You know how we do.